So y'all know that we're in the point of the off season where we don't really have news, we don't really have headlines. So we're looking for just any type of clips, to kind of like react to. So I was thinking, because jury duty is a long ass time, and jury duty like being in jail. You ain't got time to do shit but think, do push ups, and read.
I got out of jury duty because I work for the city government. It is like conflict of interest. I thought, oh, great, sweet,
good. So I was thinking, right? I was thinking about, Cowboy fans and the type of players that we've been, looking at, the type of guys that we like and dislike and things like that. Still don't bring this tweet up, Will, still, because I'm about to put a poll in the chat box right now. It's going to be for A and B. Now, chat, I want y'all to listen to me closely. Escuchen. Push your headphones close to your ears, and let's just play a little game, chat. You got A side and you got B side. I'm talking about pass rushers right now, right? What type of pass rushers would you rather have? And I thought about this because we're going to be bringing back the series Best Sack Technician. We're going to call it something different. Y'all can help out with that too. But side A is the pass rusher that may not be super productive, but he's a huge presence, right? Big name, big presence, big skill, but he's not very productive for whatever reason. That's A, the non-productive big name, big presence guy. Then B, I'm going to go ahead and put this poll in there.
Well,
but
you said big presence, low numbers.
Big presence, low numbers. A side is big presence, big name, big threat to the other team, low numbers, right? The other side is unassuming, low presence. I may not know your name, but you're super, super productive sack-wise, right? So how I did it on Twitter was, on one hand, you got Khalil Mack, who will go through a whole season. He's Khalil Mack. He may give you 9 sacks. But on the other hand, you got Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals, and he got like 18 sacks. You see what I'm saying? Would you rather have the unassuming dude to get 18 sacks, no big presence? He probably don't even get double teamed. Or the dude that's big presence, low numbers. I want to hear from Will first. I got the poll in the chat right now. We'll be keeping eyes on that. Also, chat, we want you dial. And I wasn't thinking about Tank Lawrence in particular. I'm gonna tell you who I was thinking about in particular. But I have the poll up here, and of course, tell me what y'all think. But Will, still, which pass rusher would you rather have? The Khalil Mack that gets you 9 sacks but a big presence, or the Trey Hendrickson that's unassuming that gets you like 18 sacks?
Man, Voch, there's a lot of get your finger right. There's a lot of nuance left out, and so it's hard to really give you a straight answer. But if you're saying forget all the details, forget the context, you want big presence, low numbers, big numbers, small presence. If I'm just going based off of that and we don't have any other meat and potatoes in between, I would want B, because then I know that person is being productive. And damn it, I hate saying that, because you can be productive in other ways. But if we're just talking straight rushing the passer and sacks, I'd imagine if you get 15 sacks in the season, you probably double the pressures as well. So I'd rather have a guy that's 15 sacks, 40 pressures, opposed to a guy that got 40 pressures, 6 sacks. But man, there's so much more in between. So I got to go with your situation, B. Yeah.
Like the Cincinnati Bengals got a big push on their defense just from Trey Hendrickson getting a big number of sacks like that. But I feel like if you're not a Bengals fan or an ex-Saints fan, because he was a Saints at some point, that's probably why he got that money from them. You wouldn't think going into a week, I got to get ready for him. You know what I mean? But like Joey Bosa's another guy that got like 10, 11 sacks or something like that. So quietly, Robert Quinn got 18 and a half ass sacks last year.
Yeah.
Quietly. Go ahead, Will.
Do you remove the names though? Like, because you put the names on it, that made it tougher. Because I'm like, aren't you game planning for the Khalil Macks and Joey Bosa's, where maybe a Hendricks, he reaps the rewards for that. Whereas a Hendricks, I don't know if you're game planning. Maybe you are now because he got 29 sacks the last 2 years. But you weren't really game planning the same way you would for a Khalil Mack or a Joey Bosa.
Sure. I think that matters. I think namesake matters. I think, when you go, we got to get ready for such and such. Right. And that's actually like an advantage to you, because he may get low sack numbers, but somebody else gets the one-on-one. You know what I mean? But we're not even taking all that for real into, because like the overall core of the, how the team is built or whatever. I'm just talking about this one player, this production. I want 18 sacks or do I want a presence from him? Because if I got Khalil Mack and I only get 8 sacks, I might feel away. I might feel like, damn, well, what you doing? Because that's how a lot of Cowboy fans. Okay, let's do this. That's how a lot of Cowboy fans do treat D-Law, right? D-Law may not get the sacks, but he does give you pressure. He does give you all these other things. But then I thought about Randy Gregory, right? There's a lot of Cowboy fans on that same token that'll go, Voch, Randy Gregory only got 6 sacks. Dorrance Armstrong got that.
There goes the context, Voch.
That's where it happens, Will Steele. That's why I thought this shit was fascinating. Yeah. And maybe I need to go to Jerry Duty more and do some push-ups and read and think, because the shit is an interesting dynamic, right? And what I ended up going with is I would love to have the unassuming just roll up and get 18 sacks guy. You know, whether it be now TJ Watt different because he got 22 sacks in 13 games. He's both. Some people was like, well, Micah Parsons. Well, Micah Parsons got 13 sacks on 100 attempts, and he was the best player on his defense. He's different. I'm talking about either the guy with the big name that's not getting you the big sacks, or the guy that's unassuming that's getting you that big ass production. We can go with Dante Fowler with this, right? Dante Fowler's not a guy that we're super like thinking about. He's not a guy that's really going to be game plan for. But if he can take advantage of D-Law and Micah taking pressure from him, if Dante Fowler end up with 11 sacks, that's a year for him. And absolutely, that's a year for us. You know what I mean? So let's just say hypothetically, you get an unassuming 11 sacks from Dante Fowler. Is that worth the replacement of a 6 sack? Come on, Will Steele. We goddamn it.
So it's definitely worth the replacement of Randy. But we're not comparing it to Randy, right? We're comparing it to D-Law. And I hate to bring no. D-Law type. Whereas
just Randy. If you had to replace Randy Gregory's 6 sacks and big presence with an unassuming 9 sacks, would you think that that's worth it? Would you say, and this goes into front office conversation, if the front office replaced Randy Gregory with Dante Fowler, right now we don't think that's an adequate replacement, or at least the masses wouldn't think that replacement is adequate. But if Dante Fowler hypothetically gets you 11 sacks, is that worth the 6 sacks and big presence that you got from Randy Gregory?
I don't see how it's not. I mean, I can see if it was, he got you 7 or 8. That's only 2 more sacks. But you getting 5 more sacks. I'd imagine you're getting more pressures. I'd imagine you're more available. I'd imagine you probably had a few more dominant games. Man, that is a fascinating question, Voch. It's interesting.
Captain America says, give me Robert Quinn's 11 sacks over Randy Gregory's 8 sacks. Robert Quinn had 18.
And he had 14 with Dallas.
Quietly, you know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, I would take Robert Quinn's year over Randy. Yes, absolutely.
Give me the numbers. Especially, and look, at first this was just general team building, right? But now we can actually apply it to Dallas. I got superstars. I got a Micah Parsons, and D-Law may not be a superstar, but I know what D-Law gives me on the pass rush front. So I don't really need much more presence than that. I need numbers now. You know what I'm saying? So if I can get an unassuming double-digit sack from anybody, I'll take it. Go ahead.
Just let's go back real quick. Who's the big presence last year for Dallas? Would you call it D-Law or Randy?
Like the end of the year, because D-Law was hurt all year.
Just in general.
The bigger presence would be Randy, I would say.
Oh, I was actually shocked. I wasn't expecting it. I thought you were going to say D-Law. So
it's only pass rush, I would say, if we talking about complete player, like who they walking in thinking about, it probably would be D-Law, because D-Law is the more complete player.
That's the presence, though. That's what I'm assuming you mean by presence, is that, presence. And I know we're not supposed to be using D-Law, but man, this is a perfect example, because D-Law has the presence of the attention of the defensive coordinators in the offense, but he hadn't put up the numbers, whereas Randy Gregory didn't put up crazy numbers, but it's the big number, small presence. He did other things. Robert Quinn did it before. And am I missing somebody that also had a decent year next to him? I feel like I am.
I mean, Mincy was solid. If you want to look at like David Irvin or something.
Well, those are David Irvin. I guess we could use David.
Sure.
But yeah, so it's a very interesting question. It leaves a lot of room for discussion in the middle. But I would go with B, and I don't do that strongly because I don't know what the nuances and I'm sorry, I don't know what the details are.
Alden Smith, maybe. It's interesting that our poll showed us is damn near like split down the middle in here. It's currently 53 we're going with big presence, low numbers, and 47% went with the small presence.
YouTube poll.
Big numbers. The YouTube poll, yes. You can actually pull up the poll I did on Twitter, because I did this on Twitter and I was surprised by the blowout that it was. Like, people were really on the side of, hey man, give me the low numbers. Give me the big presents. Now, I think that's a damn lie, because as soon as you get low numbers, they're gonna be like, "Oh, we paying you all this money. You can't even get."
Bro, they don't give a damn about no details or context. All that shit don't matter. If we paying y'all money, yeah, you a big present. So what? You ain't getting sacks. That's all they care about.
100%. But I'm working on this best sack technicians, right? And I was so surprised at some of the names that were top 10 in the league in sacks last year, right? I got to pull it up right here. We got TJ Watt, of course, Aaron Donald, Trey Hendrickson, Micah Parsons, of course, ladies and gentlemen. And this is in no order. It's just how I got it right here. Robert Quinn, Myles Garrett, Hassan Reddick was up there. Nick Bosa, Harold Landry, in which I liked him more than Van Der Esch. Matt Judon and Cam Jordan. Those were like the top sack dudes. Some of those dudes, hey man, we know y'all to be gangsters in this sack game, but like, Hassan Reddick was up there. Robert Quinn got 18. Trey Hendrickson was top 5. Like, and Trey Hendrickson missed 3 games also. You know what I mean? So I think, it's always good to just look at that and just give yourself some kind of perspective on that.
I'm waffling, Voch. I think I want big presence now. Because I'm sitting here thinking, right? Because think about this. As long as I got big presence, I can always get big number, small presence. Think about that. If I got a guy who has a big presence, I can continue to just rotate that other guy and they'll put up solid numbers, right? Good numbers, big numbers, whatever you want to call it. But if I got a just random, unassuming dude getting me 8 sacks, or 12 sacks, I can't have confidence they're going to continue to do that, right? Because that's not what they do. It's a George Selvey, it's a Jeremy Mincy, it's a Jason Hatcher, it's a
right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think I'm rotating back now.
And my only push back to that is, just because you got a big presence somewhere else doesn't mean that Dorrance Armstrong is gonna give you double-digit sacks, right? Mm-hmm. Like, but if I can get the dude, if we can walk into it and say, okay, Micah Parsons is here. Do you want to bank on this unknown dude getting you double-digit sacks, or do you want to walk in and say, hey, Voch, this unknown dude is gonna give you 18 sacks? I'll take that.
How about this? There's teams that have both.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean?
Of course. Sure. Like
your example, Khalil Mack, he fitting to go play with Joey. I bet you he gonna be big numbers, small presence, but if you treat him as small presence, he gonna be big numbers.
I wonder who gets the double team in that situation. Like, which one of them dudes get the most attention, Khalil Mack or Joey Bosa?
I feel like Khalil gets disrespect because he don't put up 15 sacks a year. My man has 6 sacks in 7 games and like 3 or 4 forced fumbles. I mean, he was on a tear before he got injured.
Yeah, it's crazy.
A tear.
It's crazy.
So I take Khalil Mack all day on my squad.